So, you've probably heard about Pi Network. It's been popping up online for a while now. It's a digital currency project that's been getting a lot of attention. Unlike Bitcoin or Ethereum, you don't need powerful computers or a ton of electricity to get it. Instead, you can mine Pi directly from your smartphone. You just open an app once a day and tap a button. This simple approach helped Pi build a massive community. Millions of people called pioneers have joined from all over the world. They've been accumulating Pi coins for years, wondering when it will have real-world value. The project was started by a team of Stanford graduates. Their goal was to avoid centralization and environmental issues. Phone mining doesn't drain your battery or use much data, it's a daily check-in. That ease helped the community grow into one of the largest in crypto. That user base could be the foundation for a widespread digital economy if the network launches publicly. Right now, mined Pi sits inside a closed system, the enclosed mainnet. You can't trade it on major exchanges for dollars, euros, or other cryptocurrencies. The team is deliberate: build apps, build utilities first. The community is now focused on the open mainnet launch. That's when the training wheels come off. So, let's break down this term you see everywhere in the Pi community, GCV. GCV. It stands for Global Consensus Value. This isn't a price set by an exchange or a single company. Instead, it's a value that the community of Pi users collectively agrees upon. Think of it like a grassroots movement for price setting. The theory is that if millions of pioneers around the world all agree that one Pi is worth a certain amount, and they start trading goods and services at that price, then that becomes its de facto value. It's a powerful idea. It puts the control of the currency's value directly into the hands of its users, not just financial markets. The concept of consensus is fundamental to how many cryptocurrencies work, but usually, consensus is about validating transactions on the blockchain. Pi's GCV takes this a step further. It applies the idea of consensus to the economic value of the coin itself. The community is essentially saying, we believe our collective time, data, and network participation have created this much value. It's a statement of confidence in the project and its potential. This bottom-up approach is what makes the GCV discussion so unique. It's a social experiment as much as it is an economic one. Can a massive, decentralized group of people will a specific value into existence? The GCV isn't just a random number, it's a target that the community is aiming for when the open mainnet launches. The idea is that during the current enclosed mainnet, pioneers can start bartering with each other using this agreed-upon value. Alright, let's talk about the number itself. $314,159. It's a very specific and very high number. When you first hear it, it sounds almost unbelievable. Why not a round number like $100 or $1,000? Well, the number is a direct and clever reference to the mathematical constant pi, or pi. The first 6 digits of pi are 3.14159. The proposed GCV simply moves the decimal point over, creating the value of $314,159. This isn't just a coincidence, it's a powerful piece of branding. It ties the currency's target value directly back to its name and identity. It's memorable, unique, and has become a symbol of the project's ambition. This number serves as more than just a target. It's a rallying cry for the community. It creates a shared goal and a sense of unity among millions of pioneers. When you see someone mention GCV or $314,159 online, you immediately know they are part of the PI community. It's like a secret handshake. This shared belief is a powerful psychological tool. It encourages users to hold on to their PI, or HODL in crypto terms, rather than looking to sell it for a low price as soon as the market opens. Of course, a target value is not a guaranteed value. The GCV is a community-driven consensus, not a price set in stone by the Pi core team. It represents the highest hopes of what Pi could become, a vision of a world where early adopters are rewarded for their patience and faith in the long-term project. So, how does Pi go from a closed system to an open market where a value like GCV could be possible? The transition centers on the launch of the open mainnet. This is the event the entire community is waiting for. The Pi core team laid out a roadmap with conditions. It's not just flipping a switch. They want the network to be mature. They want it to be secure. They want it ready for the world. This step-by-step approach protects the network and users from premature chaos. First major step, KYC, know your customer. KYC is identity verification. It prevents fake accounts and mass unfair mining. Millions of pioneers have completed KYC. Goal, reach critical mass verified. Verified users make the ecosystem stronger and more valuable. Next, mainnet migration. Pi moves from an app balance to your personal Pi wallet on mainnet. You receive a private key, giving you full ownership. The core team migrates users in batches. Goal: a significant portion moved on-chain before public open. That creates a real supply ready for the economy. Final: a healthy ecosystem of Pi apps. Pi apps let you play games. Pi apps let you join social platforms. Pi apps let you buy goods and services from marketplaces. Many useful apps plus a thriving and closed mainnet equals utility from day one of open mainnet. Meeting these three goals: widespread KYC, large-scale migration, mature app ecosystem. This is the planned path to unlocking Pi's potential in 2025 or beyond. Let's imagine for a moment that the open mainnet launches and the GCV of 314,159 becomes a reality. What does this actually mean for an everyday user, a pioneer who has been patiently tapping that button? First and foremost, it would mean that the Pi coins in your wallet have substantial real-world purchasing power. The digital balance you've been watching grow for months or years would suddenly represent a significant amount of value. This is the moment that every pioneer has been hoping for. Your digital assets would become usable in the global economy. This doesn't just mean you could trade it for cash. In fact, the GCV movement encourages users to think beyond just cashing out. The goal is to create a circular economy. This is where Pi is used directly to buy goods and services. So instead of selling your Pi for dollars to buy a coffee, you would buy the coffee directly with a small fraction of a Pi coin. This is a huge shift in thinking. It positions Pi not just as a speculative asset to be traded, but as a true medium of exchange. A global digital currency that you can use for your daily needs. For the average user, this could be life-changing. If you've accumulated, say, 100 Pi coins after mining and from your security circle at the GCV price, that would represent an astronomical value. But let's think on a smaller scale. Even if the actual value is a fraction of the GCV, it could still be significant. It could mean being able to purchase high-value items like electronics, a car, or even make a down payment on a house. The vision is for Pi to become a global utility, accessible to everyone. It would allow people to participate in a digital economy that they helped build from the ground up, using a currency they mined themselves. The unlock would also empower small businesses and merchants. Let's paint a picture of what a day in 2025 could look like if the Pi network achieves its goals. Imagine you wake up and check your Pi wallet. The value is stable and widely accepted. You decide you need to grab some groceries. You head to a local supermarket that is part of the Pi merchant network. At the checkout, you open your Pi wallet app. You scan a QR code. You authorize the payment. The transaction is fast. The fees are extremely low, much lower than a typical credit card fee. You've just used a tiny fraction of a Pi coin, maybe 0.00002 Pi. Later in the day, you're browsing online. You come across a new laptop you've been wanting. You find an electronics store that has integrated Pi payments. Instead of entering credit card details, you choose the Pay with Pi option. The website generates a payment request. You approve it from your Pi wallet. The order is confirmed. The store saved a 3% credit card processing fee. You're happy because you used the digital currency you've been accumulating. Seamless integration into e-commerce is a key part of Pi's utility. In the evening, you decide to order food delivery. You open a food delivery app built on the Pi platform. Because it's decentralized, fees for you and the restaurant are lower. You browse menus from local restaurants that accept Pi. You place your order. You pay directly from your wallet. The delivery driver, also a pioneer, receives payment in Pi as soon as delivery is complete. Every part of the transaction, restaurant, driver, you, happens within the Pi ecosystem. This creates a self-sustaining economic loop. Finally, before bed, you might use some Pi for digital services. Access premium features in a mobile game built on Pi. Tip a content creator on a decentralized social platform. These microtransactions are an important use case. They're often too expensive with traditional payment systems due to high fees. With Pi, sending a fraction of a cent could be effortless. That opens new business models for app developers and creators, all powered by the Pi in your wallet. So, let's get even more specific. How would a major purchase like buying a car work in a world where Pi has a high GCV? It might sound far-fetched, but let's walk through the hypothetical steps. Imagine it's late 2025. The open mainnet is live and car dealerships have started accepting Pi. You've been a pioneer for years and have a healthy balance of Pi in your migrated wallet. You're ready for a new car. Step 1. finding a merchant. You would use a Pi-based business directory or a map application built for the Pi ecosystem. These apps show all the local merchants who opted in. They also show online merchants. You find a dealership that has the car you want and advertises that they accept Pi. You go to the dealership, you take a test drive, you decide to make the purchase, a willing seller meeting a willing buyer. Step 2, agreeing on the price. Let's say the car is priced at $31,415.90. If the dealership is honoring a GCV of $314,159, the price in Pi would be exactly 0.1 Pi. The salesperson confirms the price in both dollars and Pi. You both agree on the amount. The dealership generates a payment request, typically a QR code on a tablet or computer screen. Step 3, making the payment. You take out your smartphone and open your secure Pi wallet. Use the wallet's send function and scan the QR code provided by the dealership. Your wallet shows the recipient's address and the exact amount. You carefully verify that the information is correct. Then, with a final tap, you authorize the transaction. The Pi blockchain processes the transfer in seconds. The dealership's wallet receives the 0.1 Pi, and you get a confirmation on your phone. You just bought a car with Pi. While the idea of a $314,159 GCV is exciting, it's important to have a balanced perspective. There are significant challenges and hurdles that the Pi network must overcome for this to become a reality. The biggest challenge is economic reality. A currency's value is ultimately determined by supply and demand, its utility, and the overall economic activity it supports. Simply agreeing on a high value is not enough to sustain it. The network needs to generate trillions of dollars in real economic value to justify such a high market capitalization. Another major hurdle is regulatory acceptance. Governments and financial regulators around the world are still figuring out how to handle cryptocurrencies. The project would need to navigate a complex web of international laws regarding finance, taxation, and securities. Then there's the challenge of user behavior. The GCV model relies on a vast majority of pioneers holding onto their P, or using it for transactions at the high consensus value. However, human nature might lead many people to try and cash out as soon as the open mainnet launches. If a large number of users all try to sell their Pi at once on exchanges, the massive selling pressure would likely cause the price to drop significantly. Finally, there's the technical and ecosystem maturity. The Pi blockchain needs to be robust, secure, and capable of handling a massive volume of transactions smoothly. The ecosystem of apps and merchants needs to be large and compelling enough to give people a reason to use their Pi instead of just selling it. If there aren't enough places to spend Pi or enough interesting apps to use, the currency's utility will be low. Building this ecosystem takes time, effort, and a lot of developers and businesses committing to the platform. So after breaking it all down, we come back to the big question. Is the Pi network's dream, especially the GCV of $314,159, realistic for 2025? The honest answer, it's incredibly ambitious. But Pi isn't conventional. Its greatest strength, a massive global community, tens of millions of users, verified and actively engaged. This community is a powerful force. The GCV movement shows their collective belief. Millions of pioneers are committed to seeing it through to the end.